Hi class, we're going to start doing this assignment that's due for Tuesday the 6th. That's election day. Hashtag please go vote. So let's get started. Essentially we're going to recreate this Tribune page here. So you want to basically go to your PolyLearn and make sure you download right here. So we're going to recreate the Tribune page. So you want to download the original page, which looks like this. Essentially, this is what we're going to recreate. And then you also want to then download all of its parts. And so basically just save this document to your hard drive, go File, Download As, and you could download it as a Word document would be the best way to go. Hopefully you have Word. If you don't, oh boy. You could still maybe possibly save it as plain text or actually as a PDF, and then you could then just go in and copy and paste from there. It's more difficult, but if you can just save it as a Word document, that's the best way to go. Otherwise, you have to do it with a PDF, and that'll be more complicated. But I'm just going to assume you're able to download it with a PDF. Once you've downloaded it, you want to open it. Actually, once you've downloaded it, before you go and open that, so go ahead and open it in Word. I have mine open in Word currently. And all the pictures and stories are in here as well. So I've got my Word document with all the pieces, and then here is my the actual finished piece. So what I want you to do is create a folder on your desktop called Tribune Pics, or whatever you want. It's where we're going to store the pics from the story. So essentially we need to save the pics from the Word document into this folder, and I'll show you why. It'll make placing them in the newspaper much easier. So create a folder called Tribune Pics. Once you've done that, go into your Word document, and we're going to start saving the pictures. So essentially what you want to do is select the first picture, right-click on it or control-click, and save picture as. Now you can save them as a PNG or a JPEG, it doesn't matter, but you could just save the first one as picture 1, that's fine, hit save. Then go to the second picture, which is right here, right-click, save as picture, and then we'll save it as 2. So on and so forth. You want to go all the way through the rest of the piece, save the mugshot, the football player, the couple of graphs here, all of this. This is one pick, one pick, one pick, one pick. Keep saving them and letting and numbering up chronologically. So once you have all of your pictures saved, hopefully wherever you saved them, if you could save them into the Tribune Pics as folder, if not, they're probably on your desktop. You want to just select them and then drag them into your Tribune Pics folder. So all your pictures that you saved should end up in your Tribune Pics folder. So if I go in here, you can see I've got, minus the flag and mop, I've got all my pictures. There should be 1 through 11. And I just saved the first one as a JPEG, but it doesn't matter if we save them as a JPEG or PNG. All right, so we're good there. All right, so let's go to InDesign. And you're going to notice that if we go to the Recreate Tribune page right here, which is due on Tuesday, the day we don't have class, hashtag please vote, you'll notice the dimensions we get right here. So the size is 10.5 by 22 inches, and then it says margin is 2 picas, and actually that's like, I believe it's like 3.125 inches. So let's try to remember that. Let's go ahead and open our InDesign. Create a new document, and we'll just go web this time because this is actually from the web, so no big deal here. And we're going to type in pixels, inches. This would be a good place for you to save this. Last name, underscore, or not save it, but put your name of the project in here. Tribune page or whatever you want to say, something along those lines. And then in terms of inches, if you remember, we needed 10.5 by 22. And then our margins, which you probably don't see your margins initially, but if you click this arrow down here, you'll see your margins. And we want to make these, let's actually make this 1.5, and because they're locked together, it should actually, let's make it 3.25. And because they're locked together, it'll change them all together. So there we go. 10.5 by 22, margin set to 0.325, and let's hit create. All right, there's our document. All right, so now we need to go place our final image, just like we did in other projects right here on our canvas here. So let's go to place. Remember, it's File, Place, or Command D to place an image. And I saved that to my desktop. It was essentially slow 21150210.pdf. So that's the file we're looking for. So let's go ahead and open. And then we're going to place it right in that corner. And boom, it's laid in there really nicely. We're good to go. So essentially we're going to do what we did on another assignment. I forget what it was. I think it was that infographic. We're going to lower the opacity. So first of all, make sure it's selected, the final. Then lower the opacity to about 40, roughly, somewhere in there. And then we're going to, if you don't see the layers, it's just over here on the layers. Go ahead and lock that, just like we did in the past, and we're going to add a new layer. This is where we're going to build the new one. All right, now here's a cool feature that I love in InDesign, is that we essentially can build all the frames for the pictures, then select all of the pictures and place them one at a time. So let's go ahead and hit F, which is our frame tool. And we're going to just build the frames for the pictures that we saved already. So there's going to be a frame here, roughly. A frame for this picture here. So we're just building frames for all the pictures that we saved. There's going to be a frame for the mug shot right there. You can zoom in a little bit tighter if you want. For the sake of this being a demo, I'm just going to go quickly. There's going to be an image there. Obviously, we've got an image here. And actually, I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. There we go. F to get back to my frame tool. There's going to be an image for the clock. Image for the football player. An image for the daily saver right there. An image for the weather icon on the bottom here. And finally, one more image for this little chart right here, the index. All right, so now that we have all of those frames put out where all of our pictures go, we can go ahead and hit V on our keyboard. And then what we're going to do is just place all of these at once. It's kind of cool. It'll load. So if we go to Command D to place images, and we find that folder where Tribune Pics, where we saved all of our pictures, if we select the first picture, hold the Shift key down, and select the last picture, it'll select all the pictures. And now if I hit Open, it's going to load every one of those pictures basically in the cursor. So I can just start placing them one by one. So there's that one. Here's the flag or the title of the paper. Boom. Here's that, looks like just like a little small infographic. Here's the picture of the weather. And it's kind of cool because it shows you a preview of the picture that's loaded in the cursor. Here's the mug shot. Really nice technique to kind of save effort. Here's the football player. Here's the index. Here's the weather. Here's the daily saver. And finally, here's the clock. All right, so now if I zoom in a little bit, I've got a couple of issues down here at the bottom. Let's see, the clock is, oops. We're going to fit that real quick. So right click on it and go to fitting, fill frame proportionately. And then I'm going to hold my Shift and Command key down just to make that a little bit smaller. All right, that looks just fine. Something along those lines. And then the weather down here, I'm going to right click again or Shift click and go to fitting, fill frame proportionately. And that actually is still a little bit big. And actually, for the sake of argument, I'm just going to leave that alone right now. Actually, you know what? Let's see if we can fix it. Maybe my frame is just too big and that's the issue. I think that is the issue. Now let's go fitting, fill frame proportionately. That's better. And then I'm going to select just the image. See how I did that by clicking the bullseye to just select the image? And then I'm going to pull in the side there, pull in the side there. There we go. Same here. I'm going to pull in the side here. Remember, I just selected the image by clicking on the bullseye there and pull this in. Okay, nice. And then our daily saver, I'm going to, obviously I built the frame a little bit too small. I'm going to hit my frame a little bit better. Then I'm going to right click and go to fill frame proportionately. Boom, okay, we're in good shape now. The only issue we have left is the flag at the top is too small. You'll notice how way small it is. But let's just choose the image by once again clicking the, not the frame, but the image by clicking the bullseye. And let's just pull it out. There, there, and actually that is not looking good. Actually, let's take that back. So Command Z to undo that. And let's go, yeah, let's select the frame and let's go fitting, fill frame proportionately. Okay, that looks good. That's fine for the sake of argument today. Okay, so there, we're looking good. So if I zoom out a little bit, Command minus on your keyboard, and I turn off my bottom layer, my real layer, and go to W to preview, you can see I've placed all those images. It's a really nice feature that allows you to place images really quick. All right, so let's turn our layer back on, make sure we're still on layer 2, because now we're going to start working on this. So what we need to do now is you need to build 4 stories. I'm sorry, 3 of 4 stories. So I'm going to build this image and this story right here. That leaves that you need to build 3 more, which would be 1, 2, 3. So I will build half of this one. This technically counts as a story, but if, you know, it's like a half a story. So I will build this, and then you'll be responsible for building this, and one more. So there should be a total of 3 stories. So I'll build 1, you'll build 2, or 3, or 3. It's up to you. You need 3 total. And what I mean by stories are stories, the ones with big headlines. That's all you need to do. You won't need to do anything other than the text here in these stories. That's what I'm looking for you to get used to practicing text treatment. Now the trick is this, that's hard on this is, you know, we don't actually, matching the fonts is really difficult, so just get as close as you can. So let's zoom in a little bit, Command plus. I'm going to work on the title here, the caption, the naming of the author of the picture, and we'll go from there. So I need to pull out a text box for my headline first of all. I'm going to hit W to come back. Actually, you know what? One other thing we need to do. We need to pull out guides. So you notice I didn't put any columns in this because the columns don't line up all the way across. So you notice this column doesn't line up with, it does line up there. But in order to line up the columns at the beginning with the newspaper, it wouldn't work. We have to put them in ourselves manually because this is set up for 6 columns and InDesign wouldn't be able to nail these right on. So we got to add them ourselves. So what you want to do is hit Command R on your keyboard. Command R, make sure you're on the selection tool, and then you're going to pull out some guides. So essentially you click on the ruler and pull, and that'll pull out a guide. And I'm going to put guides to hit my text. So there's 1 guide, 2, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing here. So basically what I'm doing is I'm setting my own columns here because at the beginning InDesign would have a hard time. We wouldn't be able to line these up, the image with the column. So we have to set them ourselves. So you can see I'm just clicking and pulling out these columns from the side, or these guides. That'll help me see where my gutters are and place my text. So on and so forth. And actually that one's a little bit off, so I can adjust it. But for the sake of argument, oops, I'm just going to do that many right now. You would keep going. So for instance, you would keep pulling them out for this story as well, if you were going to do this story. So on and so forth. Now you'll notice though that if you were going to say go and do this story down here, once you finish the stop story, you would need to adjust these guidelines. So I could just click it and pull this, click it and pull this, and adjust my guidelines for this story. But But for right now, we're just doing this first story. Just for your own information, when you go to move on to other stories, you may need to adjust them. And you can just click them and adjust them that way. Okay, so we're good to go now. Now let's go ahead and work on the headline. I'm going to pull out a text box that kind of matches the headline here. Roughly something like that. And we've got wet, type in wet, hot, slow winter. That's actually almost kind of like today. Then I'm just going to scroll over it to select it. Command T to pull up my text. And I know that this is a sans serif font. And I know Arial is a sans serif, so I'm just going to go with Arial right now. That's looking like a bold font as well, so I'm going to choose bold. And then I'm just going to size it up until I reach the end of my text box. So it looks like I'm going to try 40. Not 40 is too big. Maybe 38. Yeah, 38 looks good. Then I need to change the vertical scale to make the text taller. So right here is our vertical scale. You can see vertical scale. So I'm going to try 150. Actually, I'm going to go 175. All right, then I'm going to go and check, get my selection tool. I'm going to pull this up just to make the box a little more accurate. Pull this down. And you know what? That's pretty dang close. It's going to be really hard to make this work, to line this up exactly. All I want you to do is get in the ballpark. So just get in the ballpark. Especially with the body copy. It's really hard to line the body copy up, but just get in the ballpark. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break right here.